Hello students. So I think you would have noticed the difference in my address in my previous videos and this one, where from hello friends it has changed to hello students, because here on we are going to getting into the serious business, that is of understanding the concepts of physics and how do we apply those concepts of physics to crack the exams that we have in our mind, be it our class 11th, class 12th exam, or be it entrance exam, what we are gonna do. So that's why now my focus is more towards my students community than from everybody and anybody else in the world, right? So welcome students. So in the next few minutes I would be walking you through what we are gonna learn in this journey of a few months, or maybe I think it may take around 10 months or so for us to complete the entire courses of physics. Depending upon your speed, depending upon a number of classes we take, I think it should take somewhere there, right? And also one thing I want you guys to let you know that you might be just out of class 10, just entering into class 11th and 12th, and probably thinking whether I should go with CBSE board, or I should go with my state board, or I should go with any other board. What kind of preparations that I need to do if I am to write for engineering exam, if I am to write for medical exam. I understand, obviously a lot of those questions will always be there in a young mind. It was there in my mind in year 1998 when I completed my class 10th around 22 years back, and obviously things would have not changed, and it will be in your mind today, and it will also be in my son's mind when he reaches his class 11. So I understand and I appreciate those anxieties, and remember friends, this is that anxiety which connects us to physics, because the very nature of physics is to understand the nature around us, understand the whys, have a lot of questions, connect them in the right directions, and then obviously use it in the best way for our life. So that's what physics is for us. So to cut the long story short, whether you are writing your CBSE exam or state board, like say I have got few students enrolled from Odisha, I got few students enrolled from Telangana, a couple of them enrolled from Andhra. So it doesn't matter whichever board you are, physics as a whole 95% would remain the same wherever you go, and that is the very reason why student from one state is comfortably allowed to write any entrance exam of any other board, or even students from one country can go ahead and write exams in any other country. So to be very frank, you go whichever part of the world, the content and the course curriculum would be predominantly same. Yes, there could be a bit of addition and subtraction depending on the geography that you are, or there could be a difference in depth and complexity based on the kind of exams you are writing. So for example, if you are preparing for an IIT exam, obviously the depth of the questions and the complexity would be much higher than the regular your medical and engineering entrance exam. And if you are preparing for your class 12 exam, also you need to understand the concepts, because without that you cannot write answers to the theoretical questions which would be presented to you in your board exams. By and large, we will be concentrating on the entire class 11th course. We would try to touch upon most of those pieces, and if you have a doubt on anything, so don't hesitate to come to me. We'll discuss and we'll see how do we go ahead. Fair enough. So let's start talking about the course curriculum which we will be covering in class 11. And again, as true with any physics law, nothing is written on stone. So we may modify a couple of things as and when our students want. So, but by and large, this would be the picture. So I personally divide the class 11 physics into 5 parts. So the first part I call mechanics 1. Okay, and this mechanics 1 starts with introducing the students to the physical world and units and measurements. Okay, so from your board exam perspective, you may expect one or two short questions related to this. Mostly you would not get a long question related to this most of the times, but you never know if they may change the pattern in any particular year, but predominantly you don't get it. Also from an entrance exam perspective, you don't get too many questions on this, but still, as this is the base, it helps you understanding many other chapters of physics. So that is where the importance of this is there. The next one we will be moving into would be, your scalars and vectors. Okay, so I will quote something here which my teachers have quoted when I was a student, and I went to study my class 12 into Revensa College, Calcutta, and when I went to do my Indian education in Rourkela, that someone who understands scalars and vectors really well, and somebody who becomes proficient in vector components resolution, mechanics 60% to 70%, he or she can deduce himself or herself. So that is the importance of this chapter, so we will spend time on this. The next we will move into kinematics. So I hope in your school levels you would have studied about S equal to ut plus half at square, v square equal to u square plus 2as, and v equals to u plus 80, these formulae, and how to use those formulae. We will revise that, we will work on a lot of problems, and we would go ahead on kinematics. Next, we will move into Newton's laws of motion. Newton's laws of motion, and then into friction. So this will be the heart of heart of a lot of problems and theory in your mechanics part 1 or linear mechanics. Okay, then we will move on to work power energy. Work power energy, and we will end it up with gravitation. So this is the curriculum that we will cover in mechanics part 1. Okay, I have already uploaded it in a video, and it is an index page of your book, so don't worry to take notes on this. So I will just move on to the next part. So after mechanics part 1, we will move on to mechanics part 2, and which is predominantly your rotational mechanics. Okay, so when we go into the rotational mechanics, right, we will study about your moment of inertia, which is equivalent of mass, your angular momentum, okay, and your everything else, we will study over here. Okay, then we will also try to understand some parts of gravitation. Okay, so that would be the heart of mechanics too. Okay, students, so this is it. Now let's move on to the next one. The third part we call it as fluid mechanics. Okay, in fluid mechanics we would understand the properties of fluids, right, which obviously means your liquids and gases. Okay, we would concentrate more on a lot of theories related to liquids, whereby we would study about surface tension, right, we would study about your Archimedes principle, okay, and a lot of theories related to this and corresponding problems we would cover in this. Okay, then we would move on to your Bernoulli's equation, okay, and we would be covering that also in this segment, right. And when we come to Bernoulli's equation, you would be able to appreciate that how Imran Khan used to be such a successful swing bowler, or why in England when there's a heavy cloudy day, fast bowlers have an advantage compared to in Chennai when we have a hot day, why spinners are an advantage. So we would get to understand that part. Or for lovers of football, how Pele used to kick the ball from your corner post, and then it used to curve into a goal post. So we will try to understand some of these here. Or whenever there's a storm, so we know we got impacted by Amphan cyclone some days back. So when a cyclone comes up, why does the roofs of weak houses get uprooted? So we will understand a lot of those things here in fluid mechanics by understanding the Bernoulli's equation. And remember, it's something very important. Okay. So with this we will be covering your fluid mechanics. So this is the third part. Let's move on to the fourth one. The fourth one is related to heat and thermodynamics. Okay, so we would be studying about the difference between heat and temperature, right? We would study about what is your latent heat, right? We would understand